Representing Team Nkunim is Shadrack Gyawu, who's joining us remotely from Accra, Ghana, where he studies at the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration. Hi, Shadrack, welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you very much. Good to see you too.
Good to see you. How you feeling? Ready to go?
Yeah, great. So I'm ready to go.
Fantastic. Okay. Without further ado, take it away.
Okay. As she said, my name is Shadrack Gyawu, and I'm here with my teammate Abu and Nadia behind me, so that you guys will get to see me. I'm here representing for Nkunim, and we are here to present our mobile app application and how we intend to integrate it with an existing system to help solve our Wege problem. Next, please. Next slide, please. Okay. Now the image you're currently looking at is the situation in Ghana. It's an often situation that happens in Ghana. That's the floods. Now, these floods are caused by the plastic waste that we have in our system. Now, every single year when it rains, we face the same system. Even though we have bad drainage systems, the plastic waste compound the problem. Now, what you're currently looking at is a very, very common scenario, which we just experienced 2 days ago. Now, it doesn't just flood. At the end of the day, we have people losing their businesses, others getting sick out of malaria, mosquitoes everywhere, as well as serious scenarios such as death. Now, with the death scenario, we had a very, very bad experience in 2015, June 10, where we had a lot of people, around 150 people dying because of this flood scenario. Now, the next image you're about to see is a little bit more graphic, so I'll say the US discretion advised. Next stage, please. Now, what you're currently looking at is not a dam site. Now, this is an example of how our drainage system looks like. And I'm sure you're saying it's very nasty. Yes, it is. Now, what happens at the end of the day is plastic gets dumped into our system. And at the end of the day, when the water flows, it doesn't go. So it chokes this gutters or our drainage system. And at the end of the day, the whole country or the city or the places that this rubber finds themselves start to flood. Now, this is a major problem that we face in Ghana. Now, this is caused because most of the individuals in Ghana, because of indiscipline issues, so they end up throwing it on the streets or anywhere that they find is convenient. The next one is the unavailability of dustbins in the locality. Or equally, we also have issues such as waste management problem, having problems to manage the waste situation in our country. Now, this and others are the situation we in Nkunim want to tackle by using our mobile app and an existing system which is currently operating. Next slide, please. Now, Ghana is not all that bad. We have a lovely country here. In terms of population, we are roughly 28.8 in terms of population. Ethnic groups, you have over 100 ethnic groups. For resources, natural resources, we have gold, diamond, bauxite, and we are popularly known for the Azonto dance. So, yeah, it's a great place to be. Next slide, please. In terms of plastic, we import roughly about 2.5 million metric tons of plastic annually. Sadly, 73% end up as effective waste, with only 0.1% being recycled. So that means solidly we deal with the linear circular method, we don't deal with the circular one. At the end of the day, we use and we dump. It doesn't go back to the recycling more often. Next slide, please. Now, individuals have tried in their effort to solve this problem. We have governmental agencies and we have private companies and NGOs trying to play a role to solve the problem of the plastic waste. Now, governments have invested over millions of dollars just to solve the problem as well as to meet the SDG goals. It hasn't been easy, but it still persists. As you can see there, this is a communal activity normally called in Ghana to make sure we clean our gutters and make sure it's happening. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, others have equally called for the ban on plastic totally. Others have also equally called for the installment of the bylaws, that is sanitation bylaws. Now, these bylaws are supposed to punish individuals who flood the system by throwing rubbish everywhere. We as Nkunim, our mission and goal is to make sure the entire country is clean. But as you can see, we have a very, very hefty task ahead. So using our device, we intend to send information across and also understand the problem as the problem goes in, day out, by individuals sending us feedback, which I'll give you more details as the time goes on. Next slide, please. Okay, now to understand the problem very well, we chose a particular area in Accra called Circle. Now the Circle has a lot of activities in terms of business as well as transactions with a lot of car activities. A lot of people pick their buses to other parts of the country at Circle. Sadly, this is the same spot where 2015, about 150 people lost their lives. So we chose to use this environment to really understand the situation and what brought about that disaster. Now, our findings and analysis proved that the key point was unavailability of dustbins. The second point was individuals did not know even where to locate the dustbins in dump sites at the end of the day after creating their own waste. So at the end of the day, when you carry it for a long time, it gets lazy and dumps it somewhere else. The other point too was indiscipline. Individuals feeling reluctant to do the right thing. They look around and they feel nobody's looking at them, they just drop it anywhere. Another one too was the ineffectiveness for the waste management system to communicate with the stakeholders, that is the drivers, the business owners. Because most of the time a rubbish could be full, it could be around for about a whole week with nobody coming to pick it up. So with that problem, it caused consistent plastic waste in the drainage system, and which becomes a problem that we have decided to solve using our system. Next slide, please. Now, to understand the system very well, as I told you earlier on, our system is a combination, that is the Nkunim web mobile application. It's a combination of that one plus the existing system. Now, the whole idea is to make sure we combine this current system or this old current system properly known to some section of Ghanaians and our own innovative idea to make sure we get the rate of the plastic wicked problem that we have. Next slide, please. Now, to understand the problem very well, our team took a visit to one of the existing crashing sites. Now, as you can see, starting from your left-hand side is a picture of Abu and I. The picture was taken by Nana on the way. Now, we got to the site to understand how they work, their structures, and what went into it. Now, what they do is they buy the plastic waste from the scavengers, or most of the time they go to the dump site themselves to buy the plastic waste. The second bit is individuals come to them to sell the plastic waste to them. So I don't know if I should have a plastic which weighs about maybe 5 kilos. I can bring it here, they'll weigh it and look at the quality. They consider the cleanliness of this and consider if it is strong enough for them to have as a product. Now the final phase is where the crushing takes place, where they crush the polythene or the plastics, into pellets. Now after they are done, they sell this pellet to the plastic manufacturing companies in Ghana who use it for their new products and services. And next slide, please. Okay. Now, this is our system, our mobile system that we have planned, and we plan to integrate it with the existing system. Now, the existing system, when we spoke to them, they mentioned they have no way of communicating with individuals who are interested to trade plastically. They have no way of getting information out there as to if they should open a new location or they should be in a new locality to tell people we are coming A, B, and C to come and pick your refuse. They have no way of doing that. So all they do is there's no constant communication between them and the people who supply them with the raw materials or the waste that they buy away and sell to the other companies. Now, this is the problem we designed to solve. Now, what you're currently looking at is a prototype, a screen capture with one of the phones that we use during the exercise. Now, the navigation system as well as the reporting system of our prototype have been tested, and it works just fine. So that means if I find myself in any locality around a circle and I click, automatically once the app opens, it shows me where dustbins are located and I can easily walk and drop my dustbins in. Equally, if I get there and there's any issue, I can equally click on that same dustbin mark to report the issue back. Also, with this system, what we intend to do is make sure we have constant communication with our stakeholders. So somebody can send in feedback to let us know, okay, I'm here A, B, and C with its relevant coordinates to tell us that this is where I am and this is the problem I'm facing in terms of refuse, or have a refuse for you to pick up. Now, our key targets in terms of the refuse, our key target in terms of creating the app is for the general public as well as the companies who produce the plastic products. So in a circular economy system, what we decided to do is after they've used it, we would be the receivers of this product and give it to the company. The company then intends to create it. Next slide, please. So as I told you, we have received send information and other relevant information that can be done. Now there's a back end to the system where individuals can send information for we to also reply. Equally, drivers can use the app to plan their route to pick up dustbins and do other trading system as well. Next slide, please. Okay, now what you see is a plastic trade system. It's very, very common in Ghana, so it's nothing new. Using the mobile app to work to locate individuals too, it's nothing new to Ghanaians too as well. Since we have the Uber, individuals can easily use and they understand the system. So the same system we have applied and we intend to use in our system. So that means our complete system will have a crashing department, an IT department, for the individual activities to take place to make sure we give the maximum results. Now, in terms of financial projection, next slide, please. Okay, now Accra in total produce around 300 tons of plastic waste a day. Now, with this, our target is 20 tons of plastic waste a day. Now, using 20 tons of plastic waste a day, an individual that is taking into consideration his expenses will be able to have his payback period within a 1 year period. That is, if you have a consistent 20 tons production a day over a period of a year. Now, if there's any delays, he may expect his returns within 2 to 3 years period of investing or starting up the business. That is the Nkunim plus the existing current projects that we have. Thank you very much.
Great. Excellent. We're going to give our judges a couple minutes here to talk with each other. And congratulations. I love the aspect of using the mobile technology that's really important to the people of Ghana, right? That's an important way that all communication takes place on mobile phones. Is that accurate?
Yeah, very true.
Yes. So now I promised you yesterday I wouldn't make you actually do the Azuntu dance, right? But could you tell us a little bit about it?
It's a popular dance formed by hip life artist Sarkodie, and I think it was made globally known by Fusion Oligi with the song Azuntu. And it's all about you just do a move and you just raise your hand. So it's that simple. And I think once you just try 1 or 2 times, you can be able to do the dance as well.
So if you win today, I hope we see your hands up in the air.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now, you also host a radio show. Is that true?
Yeah, I host a radio show on Class 91.3 FM in Accra. And in the same way, I use my platform to also promote sanitation and the use of innovative technology to make sure individuals understand how best they can solve the problem. Because it's a big problem. The government is investing money, but consistently we just keep having the same problem. So these days it's all about technology for Ghana. So that's the way we decided to use an innovative way to make sure we combine it and make sure we get rid of the problem by using smart ideas and innovative ideas as well.
Wow. Well, it's I think hard for us in the United States to imagine, if we've not traveled, an environment where there's really a very little public policy on waste and waste management and especially recycling. And so that's really an important contribution you've made here today. So we're going to see if our judges are ready. Yeah, they're going to be. They are. All right, so the judges will ask you some questions and I'll be back on stage.
Go. Oh, okay.
Nice job. I actually really appreciate this because what you're trying to do is create a market for plastic waste. And we have seen major countries closing their borders to international shipments of plastic waste. And that has caused a lot of ripple in the economy related to how countries are going to start managing waste. And what you've done is try to create local market, local action to bring those materials back into the economy. So I really, really appreciate that. One of the things that I've noticed, at least in the North American context, is how cheap waste plastic is. It currently trades, depending on the type, mixed plastic waste, at 1/4 of a penny per pound. That is very, very cheap, almost nothing. And I wonder how will your project, how will your program sustain itself when the global market of plastic is extremely cheap?
Okay. In terms of Ghana, the figures you mentioned, when you convert those figures to Ghanaian figures, it looks very, very huge. And currently we have a high level of unemployment in Ghana. So individuals currently collect stuff such as this and other plastic bottles that we use at the end of the day. So families are currently gathering them. It's happening. During our discussion, we realized families, when it goes to the house, after they drink from the bottles, they keep them. So it's in existence. But the volume will definitely reduce as probably, as you said, new technologies come on board. But we will not have an distinct way of reaching out to them. Definitely, since they are gathering them, the price market is, we just need to make sure we have innovative ways enough to meet them. And as you said, we also intend to open different depot spots to make sure we reach out to the maximum or the maximum number of people who are willing to engage with the trade with, giving them, instead of, let's say, they have other solid waste or liquid waste they want to dispose. If you take the plastic, you don't need to pay a dime, but currently you pay when every time you want to even dispose of like a liquid waste. That is different from the plastic waste. So it's sort of a barter trade. Because I'm giving you plastic, I don't pay for my waste. So we have plans and methods in place that we want to use to make sure we get people interested in our ideas.
Got it. And I heard you say that the plan is to sell plastic waste to plastic manufacturers.
Yeah.
Product manufacturers.
Yeah.
How much will you sell? What's the price that you will sell the plastic waste for?
Okay. Now, currently, a pound of plastic waste on the international market is relatively the same as Ghanaian markets, cost about $0.58. Now, when we went to the crash site and dealing with the guys, we witnessed continuously that those businesses who deal with polythene, that means they manufacture polythene, buy these pellets. So there's already a existing market for it. So as I said, a pound would go for $0.58.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, this may be a very naive question. I'm going to ask it anyway. It seems to me a big part of what you're trying to do is to change behavior of people in the community. And instead of throwing plastic waste and waste in general out into nature, out into the environment, to put it into the recycling system. And it seems like there is a recycling system that already exists. So to me, you can solve you can solve a behavior problem economically, which is what you're trying to do with your solution, but you could also solve it essentially in a marketing sense or a promotional sense. So why would your economic system be a better use of time and materials and money than, let's say, a promotional campaign or an advertising campaign that got people to simply put their waste into the system that already exists?
Okay, you're right in terms of changing people's behavior, because it's one of the major problems that we face as Ghanaians, honestly. But in terms of the business side of it, currently all the products that we import, they are packaged in plastic. So at the end of the day, we can't do away with it. Now, taking advantage of it as a raw material is what we intend to look at. So the business senses, at the end of the day, because we have a system that can track, control, and source the materials for ourselves, we don't really need to go and buy these plastic materials for scavengers. So in a business sense, it's a way for you to get huge volumes of your resources you need, which you just convert by just using some basic method of washing and crashing it and selling it to other companies who will tend to use it for their own raw materials to produce new products.
Thank you.
Hi, well, thank you for your presentation. I have a question with respect to the sorting of the waste plastic. So my understanding of the waste plastic market is that it's super important to be able to differentiate between, for example, PET plastic or ABS or PLA or what have you. And that's actually one of the main challenges for mixed plastic rubbish or garbage everywhere in the world. What kind of mechanisms are you putting in place in terms of your model in order to sort plastic? Or are you just looking at a mixed pellet or a mixed product that you're then giving to plastics manufacturers, or are you doing some sort of sorting for them?
Okay. For the sorting, our key, when we worked with the existing team at those that we showed the pictures, we realized we have high demand for, there's a demand for every plastic waste out there, whether it is well crushed or well sliced into pieces. But there's a higher demand for PVC, that is a polyvinyl chloride, as well as the ones in the bottle type. Yeah, sorry to say. So what we intend to do is we initially will start with a hand-pick method whereby you can separate the individuals doing your sorting, separate the individual plastics into different forms. So we focus more on the PVC as well as the polyethylene bottles. So we can use that one to sell to the waste the plastic producing companies. So the whole idea is to sort out, once we have the mix, sort it out into different parts, because all of them are still needed in the market or are still purchased in the market anyway.
Thank you.
I guess, yeah, I guess it's maybe a naive question from my point, but I'm still trying to discern, is there any recycling that's going on? When you showed a slide that had a 0.1% of recycling of plastics in Ghana,
yeah.
Is that the 0.1 that's actually being instituted by the government? Is it a public service that's going on that just is not being utilized?
Currently, we have a joint partnership between government and a company called Zoom9. So they have a composite plant, and we had one of our mentors working there. Now, what they do is they recycle it, they chop it into pellets, and they come out with basic household, but mainly dustbins, because equally they use the dustbins too as well. So there's still a huge volume of plastic waste available, which has not been touched, because as a waste management company, their ability or capacity to deal with that huge volume of waste produced by a quarry alone, which is about 300 tons of waste a day, is not possible. So yes, a huge amount is being recycled, but compared to the bigger picture of 300 tons of waste produced a day, it's still up to nothing. It's
Right.
just a few.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Colin asks, your initial costs are higher than $6 million. From your presentation materials, $6.7 million in startup costs, or startup expenses. Where will this money come from?
Sorry, come again.
Where will the money come from to fund your $6.7 million startup expense?
Okay. Currently, the government have one district, one factory policy, and that is the new government. And what we intend to do is to apply for that one district, one factory. Because having it is the government needs services like this. They just recently invested $20 million into a recycling plant. So preparing a good proposal with a good business case, we hope to attract government sponsorship for the project. Equally to Ghana is a green turf in terms of investments, and we have investors coming in. We plan to build a good proposal and a good presentation with all the corrections that really judges gave us to make sure we have a solid case to defend it and make sure sort is from sponsors or investors who like to invest in the country and have huge benefits over a short period of time, or huge payback over a short period of time, realistically.
Got it. Thank you.
I have a quick question, and that is, what is your projection of the change in price for the plastic that you sell back once you've accomplished a 20% recycle rate, which is, what is it, 100 or 1,000% more, 100% more, 100 times more plastic that's being recycled now? What does that do to the price of plastic and therefore your economics?
It looks like, if I'm understanding you right, it's based on, if you go through a first phase of recycling, definitely the price of it will reduce. Because if it continues, the more it goes on, the lower the prices gets. So that's, if I'm understanding you right, the price will reduce based on the recycling methods or the recycling processes or phases that he has been through over a period of time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Shadrack.